The Senate will come to order. Mr. Majors, would you please call the roll?
Senators Aguilar.
Excused.
Baumgartner. Carroll.
Excused.
Cook. Crowder. Donovan. Garcia.
Excused.
Grantham.
Excused.
Guzman. Heath. Hill.
Excused.
Hodge. Holbert. John. Johnston. Jones.
Excused.
Kafalis. Kerr.
Thinking about that one. Pretty sure he's not in Colorado Springs. Excused.
Lambert.
Excused.
Lundberg. Marble. Martinez-Jimenez. Merrifield.
Excused.
Neville. Newell. Roberts. Scheffel. Scott.
Excused.
Sonnenberg. Stedman. Tate.
Excused.
Todd. Hewleberry.
Excused.
Woods. Mr. President.
Here, with 23 present, 0 absent, 12 excused, we still have a quorum. We are going to go a little out of order, though. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, as I'd said a time or two from this mic in the past week, we have a homeschool day at the Capitol here, and are joined by several hundred families, which amounts to well over 1,000 people who will be here for a good part of the day. But I am happy to say that we have some special music. We've already had some special music from the Colorado Youth Symphony, gave some remarkable music, but we also have a gentleman here who is a...
Just recognize them, by the way. They were fabulous, weren't they? Weren't they? You got to hear them. And as soon as they told me that the governor would not let them play in the rotunda today, I immediately took them to the rotunda and had them play. So, and Governor, just in case you're listening, the second floor and the third floor are ours. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. But in addition, we also have a gentleman here with us to present the national anthem. His name is Danny Craig, and he's an excellent soloist who is a homeschool graduate, and I understand he and his wife will probably be following in that tradition with the next generation as well. And he works quite a bit with Christian Home Educators of Colorado in some respects. Now, it's going to be a little bit different because he'll sing the first verse, but there is a final verse to the national anthem, which I would hope that we are all more familiar with than maybe we are. And therefore, I invite you to join him in singing the final verse to the national anthem. And if anybody has a little homeschool day program, it's in there if you need to cheat with the words. So, Mr. Craig.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? wings brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, no bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the hand-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto: in God is our trust, and the star-spangled banner in triumph shall reign o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I think I can count on one hand the times I've heard the second stanza. Apparently, the final slot for the musical Hamilton has just been filled. That was phenomenal. Tell him thank you. It was amazing. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I move that the Senate suspend its rules so that individuals who are not currently serving as sitting state senators be allowed to lead this body in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will suspend its rules for the purpose of a special guest to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Guests, plural. Please rise in the chamber and in the gallery. Please welcome Henry, Caroline, Penelope, and Annalise Galanick. Come on up. Which one, him or me? Uh-oh. Here, come here. There we go. Let's do this. There. Now you can see him. You see him? Here, stand up. There you go. Not everybody gets to stand on my jersey. We're going to do this. You guys ready? Need a script? We do. Okay. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
He probably hopes he is never that scared again. I know I do. Thank them again. Thank you for joining us. Senator Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the reading of the journal for Thursday, April 7th be dispensed with, that the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is approved and the journal is adopted. Senate Services.
April 8, 2016, correctly printed, Senate Bill 183, Senate Concurrent Resolutions 1 and 2, Senate Joint Memorial 5, Senate Joint Resolutions 27 and 29, Senate Memorial 2, correctly engrossed, Senate Bill 67, correctly re-revised, House Bills 1405, 1406, 1407, 1408, 1409, 1410, 1411, 1413, 1414, 1416, 1415, 1417, 1418, and 1419, correctly enrolled, Senate Joint Resolutions 2 and 20.
We never clap for Max. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're all out of order. Committee reports.
April 7, 2016, Committee on Health and Human Services, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1379 be amended as follows and as so amended before the Committee of the Whole favorable recommendation with the recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar.
Third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 67?
Senate Bill 67 by Senators Sheffel and Heath and Representative Williams concerning a property tax exemption for personal property use to provide broadband service.
We got to get it over to the House.
Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor and privilege to collectively move Senate Bill 67 on third reading for final passage. Ask for favorable consideration, and I vote.
Is there further discussion? Senator Heath.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I know we don't do it in this body. Can I second the motion in this particular case?
Do whatever you want.
I would ask for an aye vote as well. It's a pleasure to do this with my colleague.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 67 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? Please add Senator Tate to the roll. With 24 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 11 excused, Senate Bill 67 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senator Holbert, Senator Donovan, Senator Neville, Senator Crowder, Senator Todd, Minority Leader Guzman, Senator Kafalis, Senator Sonnenberg, Senator Lundberg, Senator Roberts, Senator Newell, Senator John, Senator Neville, Senator Tate, Senator Cook, Senator Martinez-Humenick. Co-sponsors, Senator Johnston. You guys get pretty giddy when you get a half day off. Good thing we're not doing a whole day. Consideration of resolutions. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 27?
Senate Joint Resolution 27 by Senator Lundberg and Representative Ransom concerning the designation of April 8, 2016 as Home Education Day in Colorado.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 27 and ask that it be read at length.
Whereas Colorado law affirms that it is the primary right and obligation of parents to choose the proper education and training for children under their care and supervision, and that home-based education is a legitimate alternative to classroom attendance for the instruction of children. And whereas home education is part of America's national heritage, as evidenced in the formative years of home-educated Americans such as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Quincy Adams, Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Abigail Adams, Patrick Henry, John Jay, Booker T. Washington, Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Mark Twain, and Ansel Adams. And whereas the growing research on adults who were home educated indicates that they internalize the values and beliefs of their parents at a high rate. And whereas home educated students score above average on achievement tests, regardless of their parents' level of formal education or their family's household income. And whereas a 2015 study of homeschool graduates found that 92% of those surveyed were happy with their home education experience. And whereas the study found that 82% of young people who were homeschooled plan to use homeschooling for at least part of their children's education. And whereas the over 2 million children who are home educated in the United States today save American taxpayers an estimated $24 billion annually. And whereas parents who have home educated their children are to be commended for their extraordinary sacrifice and commitment that has produced millions of home educated graduates who are equipped to be successful and productive citizens because of the values, education, and training they have received from their parents. Now therefore be resolved by the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, honor, thank, and celebrate home educators and their home-educated children of this state, and recognize April 8th, 2016 as Home Education Day in Colorado. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to Christian Home Educators of Colorado, Governor John Hickenlooper, and Brian D. Ray, founder and president of the National Home Education Research Institute.
Colleagues, please be seated. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 1988, here in Colorado, Representative Bond and Senator Micklejohn carried the legislation that became what is essentially the home-based education legal structure here in the state. And since that time, tens of thousands of families have taught their kids at home. And it's been a very productive and positive educational format that has served them well, has served the state well. And I believe it is very appropriate that from time to time the legislature acknowledge this educational format as a system that works and works well. I trust that in future years we will honor the responsibility and indeed the authority of parents to choose first and foremost what works best for their children's education. I would refer to the particulars in this resolution as examples of how it works and what we should be doing as a state, or most appropriately, not doing, because the real key is to get out of the way and let the parents choose what's best for their kids' education. It's worked again and again. Indeed, across this nation, it's worked very well millions of times. I stand again asking for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 27 and appreciate the time you've afforded for the attention to this important matter. Thank you again, Mr. President.
Is there further discussion? Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also stand in support of Resolution 27. I don't consider myself a very emotional person, but I will tell you that this Daniel Craig, who sung the national anthem, I've gotten chills up my spine when I've heard national anthem, but never to the point where my eyes watered. That was the best rendition I have ever heard, and I want to thank you personally for that. My name is Senator Larry Crowder. I represent Southern Colorado, and I'm here to welcome you all here today. It's quite an honor for us to be able to speak to you. I have 4 grandchildren that are homeschooled, and until my son started homeschooling his children, I did not have a big concept. I heard about it, but I never had a concept. And the results have been remarkable. The commitment that the parents make for these children is just simply amazing. Like all parents of all students, they have a vested interest in their students. And I just wanted to commend you on your commitment as parents, and I'd like to commend the students on your commitment to learn. You know, you are an extremely valuable resource to us as well as the country, and we do thank you. You know, I just want to, one final thought, enjoy your day here at the Capitol, because this is your day. And again, welcome to the Capitol, all of you. Thank you very much.
Senator Neville.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, guests, I'll tell you what, when you look at this, you have an opportunity to meet and interact with folks that actually homeschool their children. And the personal sacrifice that they make is in relationship to the personal reward that those families actually get. It's very clear. When you talk about freedom, liberty, opportunity, you talk about the future generation, the homeschool community stands above and beyond anyone else that I have met when it comes to looking at where is our future going? Where is our country going? We take a look at what the founders of our country talked about, a self-governing country, people that are involved. You represent the best of the best. I thank you for coming down here today. It's a pleasure to have you here. This is your house.
Senator Woods.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Senate Joint Resolution 27 this morning, and I want to talk first to the students who are here today. I look around at you. I've met many here on the chamber floor this morning, and I see future residents of this chamber in you. We see future leaders in our country in you. What I know about the homeschool families that I know personally is they have grown up knowing the very best friends in their life are sitting around the dinner table every night together. And I really applaud the parents and the sacrifices that you make to teach your children at home. I know what a sacrifice it would have been for me to teach my own, and I wasn't qualified, and I did not do that. But I appreciate that you do. And many of you are teaching multiple children at home. I'm just so in awe of what you do, and I thank you for it. You are raising up the next generation of leaders for our country, leaders for our state, and we are very grateful to you. Thank you. Enjoy the day here at the Capitol. This is your day. This is your building, and we're happy to celebrate it with all of you.
Senator Kafalis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, guests. I rise in support of this resolution, SJR 27, and give thanks to the sponsor of the resolution, the good senator from Berthoud. I don't know how many folks know that I have two sons, and actually in the early years of their education, we did homeschool, and I'm happy and proud to say that both of them are good human beings. My older son is a sergeant first class in the U.S. Army, and my younger son is a CSU graduate, 2008, who is a good citizen and a person who works hard and gives back to his community. So thank you for running this resolution.
Senator Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. To all the homeschool kids and parents, thank you for attending here today. Thank you for coming to your Capitol building and watching your Senate recognize you and consider this resolution. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to have my neighbors, the Moss family of Douglas County, and they are homeschoolers, and some of their friends here on a Sunday afternoon, and we went and explored the far reaches of this building. That was a great time together with homeschool families. And it reminded me to come down and ask you, don't hold us at a distance. We're not more important than you. We work for you, and this is your building. Get to know your state representative and your state senator. Wherever you live in Colorado, you have one of each. Help us get to know you and your family and how we can be more of support to homeschoolers throughout this state. We work for you, and I know you teach your children well to understand that. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there further discussion? Senator Marble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too rise in support of Senate Joint Resolution 27, and God bless the homeschoolers. Every day with you is a learning experience. Your dedication to excellence is greatly admired and appreciated. I know when I was growing up, the best education that I received is that I got on the ranch, working alongside, whether it was someone who never got to school, but what he learned in life's lessons. Yeah, I learned how to count. I had to count cows. And I counted hundreds of thousands of cows. I learned how to multiply and divide without a calculator because of that experience. I could spreadsheet, and you know what? It really gave me a value of raising every day out of bed and looking forward to the new delights I would find in learning. I want to tell you how much I appreciate your attempts to keep that freedom of education going and your choice of how to do it. You keep your families together and you keep your focus on what's important. And that is true factual education. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate someone who can add, divide, and subtract and multiply without a calculator. Thank you.
Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Madam President, and I rise in support of Senate Joint Resolution 27 as well. You are welcome to the Capitol. It's always a pleasure when you are here. Your influence on this place is great, and so thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come to this place and make yourself known and heard. I shall always be grateful for the legal rubric that exists in the state of Colorado that not only allows the opportunity to families to home educate, but actually allows that system of education to thrive in this state. And you and your presence here today is testament to the fact that it is alive and well and thriving in the state of Colorado. As a homeschooling father of 4, I will always consider that one of the greatest privileges of my life to participate in my children's education. You all are overachievers, and you're to be applauded for that, and we tend to spend a lot of time in this building on the test scores and your careers and your level of higher education, and that's important. So if you're still in the process of education and you're hearing these words, keep up the good work, stay in the game, keep studying, keep overachieving, that's good. And my children, who are largely grown, have done their share of that. But it's interesting, as a homeschooling dad, as I reflect and kind of join in the celebration of Home Education Day at the Capitol, what I really have the fondest memories of is the, kind of hard to know what to call it. I really call it the extended childhood of my children. I have the fondest of memories of extended play times and things that would be school time and spending time on that, and it would kind of morph into play time, and it would morph back to education time. And it was really a process. It wasn't just about setting up a school in your house. It's really lifestyle and lifetime learning and the privilege of doing that. And so it's really quite a system. As you heard from the resolution, it's time-tested. It's been going on for a very long time. And it's a wonderful fact that it is so successful in today's society. It's one of many alternatives. Not to say that one is better or the other. It's important to have multiple systems, and we certainly do that in this state. It's important that we do that, and we urge them all to succeed, and we try in this building anyway, to foster an environment so that all methods of education can be successful. But today we celebrate home education. And it's great to have you here in the building. It's an honor and privilege to support this resolution and to celebrate with you. And for this dad, just to reflect ever so slightly and to recall some of those great memories around the table and around the desks that we had and all the different things and the whiteboards and the bulletin boards and the long walks we would take learning about different things. And as a dad whose kids are now largely grown, to look back at them and see that I was able to spend an extended period of time in their lives when they were in those crucial years of education. So again, welcome, congratulations, and I'll add my support to this resolution.
President Cadman.
Thank you, Madam President. Welcome to the Capitol. When we got married, I was sharing earlier during a debate that we incurred a little bit of debt along the way. We had some school debt. We had some plans to pay that off before we were going to have kids. And I told my wife, we're not having kids until we meet X goal. A few weeks later, X goal happened because somebody left us enough money to pay off our school loans. So when my wife became pregnant, she said, well, as soon as we have this baby, I'm staying home. But we talked about it, and then, of course, I agreed. And that's when she made more than me. Well, actually, she still makes more than me. So we were looking at my wife staying home with our first son, and I thought, well, this will be a couple years, and then they'll be in school, and she'll go back to work. And then she said, I'm going to homeschool. No, actually, she said, we're going to homeschool. I was a little skeptical, and I was concerned about the money, number one, about the money, number two, about the money, number three. Not only was I concerned, the people I worked with were concerned. I worked for a congressman who I had a lot of respect for, and his wife, who I ended up serving with in the House, some of you knew her, shall remain nameless, because I know the minute I mention her name, somehow she'll be listening. She was a school teacher, and she said, she didn't say, are you crazy? She said, you are crazy. You cannot let her do this. I'm not getting in between them. And those of you who knew her and know my wife understand that. I was not getting in between my then colleague, my former boss's wife, and my wife. But they were very skeptical, dismissive, which really helped me. But I will tell you, on this day, 10, 12 years ago, I'm trying to think what it is now, 11 years ago, on Rocky's opening day, when my homeschool son came to the Capitol and I took him to that opening game, trying to stay under the radar because we were technically in session. Oh, we were in session. I snuck away from the house. Didn't put my jersey on, just wanted to be very low-key, but we were on the first base dugout, and a reporter got in front of us with a camera. My son's reaching out for a ball. Oh, no. Well, maybe they won't use it. Sure, they used it. Front page of the sports section. Alex Cadman reaching out for a ball. Front page of the sports section. That's hard to hide in plain sight. 2 innings later, there's a microphone in his mouth from Root Sports, and they're interviewing him. And he's 7 years old. He says, aren't you supposed to be in school? He goes, I am in school. I'm homeschooled, and every day is an education somewhere. He's 7. He's 7. And you can ask the Montforts. They got a copy of the video for me. I still have it, and I wish I had thought about it and the picture that was in the paper and brought it up here. He was 7. He did a better interview at 7 than I have done since. I was skeptical. My wife used the term we often. We homeschool, we do this, we do that. I said I was the superintendent and the maintenance guy, mostly the maintenance guy. I kept the house in shape. Well, those 2 kids have done pretty well. My oldest is about to graduate with a an associate's degree, and he's been getting straight A's, not because he's studious, but I told him if he did, he wouldn't have to pay me back. It's about the money. And my youngest, as you know, just 2 days ago, the kid that does really good interviews, was just inducted into the National Honor Society at his school, and he attends one of the hardest schools according to U.S. News and World Report and Newsweek. Vanguard School in Colorado Springs is one of the top 20 high schools in the country, and he made the National Honor Society. I just want to say, God bless you for what you do for your families and that kind of commitment that produces those kinds of results. And I want to say thank you to my wife for being the best mom, certainly the best wife, and obviously the best teacher. Thanks for joining us on Homeschool Day.
Thank you, Madam President. I certainly appreciate the time that we've had to focus in on this very important subject that we don't spend much time with here at the Capitol. I know that some of our guests have had to leave because they actually have some programs that are going on down at the Pillar of Fire Church down the street, and then they'll be back here on the west steps of the Capitol at noon for a rally. I invite all of you to join us if you wish, and that it's always a good, encouraging time. As a matter of fact, just a little bit of recollection in closing here. It was back in 1994 that we held the first homeschool day at the Capitol, and it's been my privilege to be a part of that process ever since. So this resolution's a little extra special, but a little history as to how come we did it in 1994. There was an amendment to the reauthorization of the Secondary Education Act in Congress. It was called H.R. 6. And that amendment that was placed on that federal legislation would have essentially outlawed homeschooling nationwide by, I believe it was like 1998, and won't give you all the particulars there, but that certainly energized the homeschool world across the country, and we got engaged and involved here, along with so many people in so many places, because this is a fundamental right for parents to choose what is best for their children's education, and then to have that authority to follow through. And I would encourage anybody who thinks they might not be up to it to check into it a little bit more. But let me go back to that point in '94, because two facts that I would bring to your attention. One is just a little bit of an aside, but I can't help but noting it because President Cadman gave a little bit of his experience with homeschooling. What he didn't tell you is when H.R. 6 became such an issue nationwide, there was a radio broadcaster who decided he would clear the deck for the day and make his listeners aware of that issue. His name was Jim Dobson, and the program is focused on the family, and that really launched a great deal of the communication to the nation on just what was happening, and at that time launched the largest grassroots outpouring of any issue in Congress. Well, the producer of that program happened to be the same lady who informed President Cadman that they were going to homeschool years later. And I thought that was kind of special there. But in addition, we launched Homeschool Day at the Capitol because we want families to understand that there is an important relationship with our government and the families. And it should be a positive one of encouragement, one of enabling. And in this case, as I said a little bit earlier, primarily one of getting out of the way and letting parents do what they know is best for their children. and it has been proven again and again and again to be the best answer. So I urge the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 27, and I would urge all to read it carefully and take it to heart. Thank you, Madam President. Mr. President, now.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 27. Are there any no votes? With 24 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 11 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 27 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Lundberg. Yes, Senator Lundberg.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors to Senate Joint Resolution 27.
Is there objection? Seeing none, the morning roll call will be added as co-sponsors to Senate Joint Resolution 27. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 29?
Senate Joint Resolution 29 by Senators Tate and Kafalas and Representatives Arndt and Nordberg concerning the recommendations of the Colorado Medical Clean Claims Transparency and Uniformity Act Task Force and in connection therewith recognizing its work.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 29. Members, this resolution honors the Medical Clean Claims Task Force, a group of 25 experts, public, private, payers, providers, focused on making recommendations for the healthcare industry and public policy environment.
Senator Kafalas.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm happy to stand here with my good colleague in support of this resolution. And the only thing I would add is that essentially why we're doing this, and we're not asking it to be read at length, is because the Clean Claims Task Force worked for 5 years very diligently. It was made up of primarily volunteers, and their task was to address this issue of payment rules and claims edits, not the most exciting thing, but they were looking to create a uniform standardized set of payment rules and claims edits, which are really critical in terms of billing and healthcare providers, and certainly what physicians have to deal with. It's been shown that with 2 separate studies that the creation of a uniform set of payment rules and claims edits would save $100 million per year in Colorado alone. So the purpose, again, is to give thanks for the work, volunteer work. Health plans were involved, private software vendors, national consultants, healthcare providers, mostly doctors, and now this work is going to be moved on to at the federal level, because these solutions have to be implemented at a national level rather than at a state by state. So it's to thank and recognize the good work of the Clean Claims Task Force. Thank you.
Senator Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to recognize Marilyn Rissmiller from the Colorado Medical Society, representing the task force. She's in the back of the room in her Rockies purple. And again, we thank and recognize all the hard work done by those professionals.
Thank you for joining us. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 29. Are there any no votes? With 24 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 11 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 29 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Kafalas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully ask that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Is there objection? Seeing none, the morning roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar. Mr. Majors, would you please read all of the appointments on the governor's appointments consent calendar?
Members of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission for terms expiring March 13, 2019. Anthony R. Aragon of Denver, Colorado, serves as a representative for local or state government entities and as a Democrat reappointed. Rita Renee Lewis of Denver, Colorado, serves as a representative of small business and as a Democrat reappointed. Carol Fabrizio of Denver, Colorado, serves as a representative of the business community and as an unaffiliated reappointed.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate confirm the governor's appointments detailed on the consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar, which includes members of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission.
You have heard the motion. Is there further discussion on any of the appointments? Seeing none, are there any no votes on any of the appointments? With 24 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 11 excused, Anthony R. Aragon, Rita Renee Lewis, Carl Fabrizio are appointed as members of the Colorado Civil Rights Commission. Consideration of governor's appointments. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate lay over the consideration of governor's appointments calendar to April 11th.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The consideration of governor's appointments calendar will lay over until April 11th. Announcements. Senator Newell? I'm sure you can come up with something. Senator Newell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I can come up with something. Members, on your desks this week, you've been receiving Kemp Foundation statistics and tips on safe care, for instance. Today is Safe Care Colorado facts, and that's the prevention efforts that we have throughout the state. And I wanted to point out earlier in the week that on one of these you received a pin, a Kemp pin. So if you want to keep that or give it to somebody, please do, but please don't throw those away because they're valuable. Thank you.
Senator Kafalis.
Thank you kindly, Mr. President. Colleagues, just a second reminder that this Monday, April 11th, from 12 to 1 p.m. in the old Supreme Court chambers, the Colorado Youth Advisory Council, which is made up of young, really smart young people from throughout the state, will be presenting their policy recommendations. And we'd like to encourage you all to attend because it's really important that the young people who have put a lot of time and effort into this, that they see that we are listening to their suggestions, and some of these suggestions have actually borne fruit in terms of policy that we do here at the state capitol. But they are focusing on teen drug, alcohol abuse, issues of underrepresented populations in Colorado, rural refugee, LGBT, and access to behavioral health services. 12 to 1 in the old Supreme Court chambers. Thank you very much, colleagues, and I hope you have a great weekend, and go Rockies.
I want to thank Senator Kafalis for highlighting that. I think it is well worth our time to spend time with these folks on that council. They've done an amazing job and a fantastic amount of work. I had a chance to visit with them a few weeks ago. This would be one of the top, I think, opportunities for us to really interact with those who are certainly subject to, if not beneficiaries of the policies that we work on and that we hope to pass on their behalf. I would highly encourage all of us to attend if you could, and hopefully we'll get a reminder on Monday as well. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Other than go Rockies, only thing left to do in the absence of other further announcements or go Rockies announcements, I move that the Senate go Rockies adjourn to 10 a.m. Monday, April 11th. Go Rockies.
Go Rockies on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go Rockies.
Don your jerseys. Go Rockies. You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will adjourn until 9 a.m. Pardon me. The Senate will adjourn until 10 a.m. April 11th.